There are college football programs you watch, and then there's Notre Dame. For generations, Notre Dame has been more than just a team. Its traditions passed down through families, memories made on fall game days, and a belief that this program represents something bigger than just football. Today's episode, we speak to one Notre Dame fan, how this team became theirs, what it feels like to walk on campus on game day, and why, no matter how college football changes, Notre Dame will always matter. This is Saturdays and Stories. Notre Dame is one of those programs that feels bigger than football. For a lot of people, it's tradition, family, and a belief all wrapped into one. Tonight, we're joined by Rick Stevenson. So let's just jump right into it. When did Notre Dame start to feel like yours?
I grew up in a Notre Dame household. My family's huge Notre Dame fans. Um, my grandmother. I always joked with her that she only loved three men in the entire world: her husband Lou Holtz and Joe Montana. Um, so I just grew up on Saturdays, and Notre Dame was that team that was always on
Oh,
TV. And so, just the family draw and then being able to watch them and see kind of the excitement in like my uncle's eyes and my grandmother's eyes, like watching the games. I was like, all right. And I kind of get into it. And then the older I've gotten, the more my fandom has grown.
yeah, you're from Western Maryland, but it seems like a lot of people in Western Maryland are Notre Dame fans that I've met.
There are
It's
surprising. There's, we're, 2.5 hours, 2 hours from College Park. So we have a ton of Maryland fans. We're 2 hours from Pitt. We have a ton of Pitt fans. We're 45 minutes from Morgantown.
yeah,
We're 5 minutes from West Virginia. So we have the WVU crowd. And then, we're 2 hours from Happy Valley and Penn State as well. Um, but there is surprisingly a large number of Notre Dame fans in our area for being a small area.
it is more of a national brand though because of always being on, no matter who they're playing, what their record was. It seems like they're always on TV. So your grandma was the one that introduced you when you were young. Tell me, you said her favorite player was Joe Montana.
Yeah.
So who would you say your favorite player is
Oh man,
in the
that is
history?
a tough one. Um,
Past,
s-
present.
so there's one that I have to cheat on. Everybody can say Joe Montana, Lou Holtz. Those are the easy answers. For me, it's Tom Zibikowski is one of my all-time favorites. He just brought so much passion. He was a badass on the field. He was a badass off the field. And he was when Notre Dame we had some down years and we started to come back in the '05 game with Reggie Bush. He was one of the guys that really I loved watching him play. I
Hmm.
grew up, one of my favorite players when I was younger was Reggie Brooks. I loved watching him in the backfield with Bettis. Um, and currently and forever my favorite player, actually, um, Javen Hunter, who played wide receiver. But I'm biased because he's a good friend. Jay, when you watch this, what's going on, my man?
Well, if
Um,
Jay wants to come on and tell his story about why he chose Notre Dame, that would be
it's
appreciated. Appreciated.
that is actually a really cool story. Uh,
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can get him to tell it to you. But we did have that talk. Um, my current favorite player. Um, it it sounds like a cop out, but Jeremiah Love, like he's just so fun to watch, and it doesn't matter. He reminds me a lot. It pains me as a Notre Dame fan to say this of Reggie Bush from USC. Even though obviously my hatred for USC, but Reggie Bush was fun to watch,
Yeah.
and Jeremiah Love was the same way. I mean, you never knew what was going to happen when he touched the ball. Uh, the Navy touchdown was sweet, where the defender tackled him and he literally just body surfed the defender
Yeah.
and then stayed on his feet and took off. That was just one of those plays that I don't even know how it happened, but you just have to be that good and that talented to make that play.
Yeah. He'll be one of the ones we're watching on Sundays next year for sure. What made Notre Dame feel different from everyone else? I know in your household, but you also have friends in other kids in school rooting for other teams. What made Notre Dame feel different?
Um, Part of it was the mascot. I mean, the Fighting Irish logo, the little leprechaun. Part of my family is Irish, so it kind of led me that way. But just being able to see them all the time, and they still are. But back then they were everywhere. They
Mhm.
were. They had the NBC deal forever. So they were one of the big time national brands, regardless of what was going on the field.
Yeah,
They are a true blue blood, like there are many others, but they were one of those national brands that you could always, every Saturday that they played, you knew you could find them on TV.
absolutely. All right, so we'll move into what the game day's like. On a game day, what time do you typically arrive on campus? Is it an early type? I know the tailgating's a little bit weird at Notre Dame. Can you dive into
S-
that a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a couple years since I've been up there, but well, it's not the crack of dawn, like Penn State.
Mhm.
It doesn't start on the Friday before like WVU, those that I've been to. But it starts early in the morning around sunrise, a little after sunrise. And the parking lot, there's several different ones. They have some, like every stadium, they have some grass lots. There is some tailgating. I've seen some places that have much more. There's a little draft bar pub right there, the Four Horsemen, and I think one of the reasons is there's so much to do on game day.
Yeah,
At midnight on Friday before the game, technically Saturday morning, you got the trumpets in the dome. The team walk into to mass, then the player walk, from mass to the stadium. You're getting your pictures, sightseeing. You got to get a picture of the Golden Dome, touchdown Jesus on the library. There's a lot going on.
and
Um,
that's what my next question was. What are some must-see things for people that wanna come visit?
um, there's Notre Dame is a beautiful school, architecturally. So the buildings are beautifully designed. Um, another two other schools I saw like that was Princeton and Duke. Both have a
Yeah,
similar design. Um, Taking in just the campus itself, and then you got to go to the Basilia. Light the candle. I'm sorry, you got Basilia is the church. Got to go to the grotto, light a candle. Um, the lake right there. All of the scenes from Rudy are filmed right there. So even if you're not a Notre Dame fan, but you like Rudy, you can kind of go see the spots it was filmed at.
yeah,
The bookstore is a place where I will spend all my money every time. They just everything that you can imagine they have.
yeah,
Um, Once you get in the stadium, you know the I get mad at NBC because they play. There's a magic at the sound of her name. And the lady sings it, and it's real soft and slow. And there's a magic in the sound of her name. Here come the Irish of Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's taking the field. And as soon as that happens, Dropkick Murphy's shipping up to Boston kicks in, and
yeah.
the place just goes from swaying back and forth and singing this soft song to just eruption. Um, and
Gives you
there's
chills.
they're long. I got chills right now just talking about it.
Yeah,
They're long. They're long benches to sit on. They're not seats. You're close. You're close to the field. I haven't been there since they got the video scoreboard,
mhm.
but it gets loud in there. It's
How many
it
does
is
it
definitely
seat?
around I think around 65,000 ish. I
Okay,
believe, maybe a little more, maybe in the 70s.
okay,
Um, it's loud. It's a good time. I've never had a bad seat in the times that I've been there. The
yeah,
Now I've seen them play at different places as well.
yeah,
But just everything about being able to be in the stadium and see the goalpost, and then behind it you can still see like touchdown Jesus in the back. It's one of the cooler sights you'll ever see.
it's quite an experience. I can't wait to get out there one day to see it.
I even took the, train up one year to go to it
Yeah.
from down here. We left at, like, 4 o'clock, and they dropped us off at 6 a.m.
Wow.
We went right to the campus, and they on game days, you can eat in one of the dining halls, so we ate there and walked around, tailgated, met some people, and they usually have, a little thing on the inside the practice hockey rink, where they'll have former players and doing meet and greets.
So what is your favorite, moment, game? What's one that always sticks with you?
Ah, um, there's a couple. One of the coolest moments I think that I've ever seen, was I was at Notre Dame Stadium for Notre Dame Boston College,
Mhm.
when Mark Herzlich played. So it was right after he beat cancer, and so that was just a cool, goosebump
Yeah.
moment. He was on the field. They presented him with a jersey and a check, and the crowd went nuts. So that was really cool. Um, the my favorite one of my favorite plays ever was back in I think it was '04, Notre Dame UCLA. I was watching the game with a buddy of mine, Ian Wright, and we're down and seconds left in the game, and Brady Quinn throws one to Jeff Samardzija, who makes a ridiculous catch, and takes it to the house, and Notre Dame wins in the final seconds.
Yeah.
Um, the other one was when we finally beat USC 2012, finished undefeated, knew we were going to the national championship game. Um, that was supposed to be us in Kansas and us to get the national title, and then we ended up playing Alabama, and everybody knows how that went.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of good and bad with that memory.
Yeah.
Um, and then the most recent, my favorite memory most recently is for the past couple seasons. Two have been a lot of fun. Um, I think it has to be the Jeremiah 90-yard touchdown run against Indiana
Yeah.
last year in a playoff game. Just set the tone. Uh, I don't care about anybody else's nerves, but it cut my nerves in half, made me relax a little bit and get to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Um, but
That was
that's
cool. That
probably
was a
one of
cool
my
sight to see, that Indiana Notre Dame playoff game. That was something special for the state, and who knew what was coming next with Indiana.
right.
Uh, Notre Dame has a ton of traditions, but we still need to look forward to what's next. So, what's your thoughts on the program today? I know there's a lot of talk about Notre Dame in the playoffs this year. What's your thoughts on the team this year? I know your thoughts on if they should have been in the playoff. Uh, just give me a rundown on what you think about all that.
Um, we started off with an extremely tough schedule, and did we deserve to be in the playoffs? Absolutely. Did Miami deserve to be in the playoffs? Absolutely, as they shown. But before that, Miami beat us head to head. They deserve to be the spot over us. Doesn't matter what happened after that game. If we're neck and neck, they beat us. Nothing we can,
Yeah,
I can't argue that. I have no argument. I have nothing to back up besides my fandom, and I think we're better than you are,
yeah.
and we didn't show it.
I don't know.
Um,
I really don't know because Miami, this playoff has proven that they belong.
yeah,
I know who your issue is with, but I can understand why that team was included in the playoff, because the playoff committee does not want to ruin the conference championships. There's too much money involved there to leave one of the big two conferences teams.
yeah. I mean,
Ru-
there's money in everything that has to do with
Yeah,
not just the conference championships, but everything with college football now. Um, I think we should have been in over Alabama or Oklahoma, but that's
yeah,
just my opinion. Um, and I think we'd have beat both of those teams.
yeah.
But this year we started out 0-2. It was a little rough. Uh,
It's
we
crazy
could
to
have.
think that one missed extra point kept Notre Dame out of the playoff
It's
potentially.
that's a
I
thousand. No,
mean,
that's a
that's
thousand
what it
percent
comes
true.
down to. It's
That's
and
exactly what it comes down to.
and when you don't play in a conference, your margins are always going to be razor thin.
Hmm.
So, what's your What's your thoughts on conference alignment? Will Notre Dame ever get into a conference?
Um, man, I I
And
like
should they get
us.
into a conference?
I like us being independent.
Every Notre
Um,
Dame fan says that.
absolutely. The hard part with being that is this year's schedule was one of those that was set up to look really good on paper.
Yeah.
A little bit like last year too. You know,
And
um,
next year.
yeah,
I
it
mean
looks
in all honesty, their schedules are weaker compared to the teams that play in the
right.
conferences.
And one of the reasons is they scheduled them so far out. So a couple of years ago, it was Notre Dame, Virginia Tech,
Yeah.
and which in the preseason and the year before it was like, oh man, this is a good game, marquee game, and it wasn't. This year, Syracuse should have been better, but their starting quarterback, Steve Angeli,
Yeah.
former Notre Dame player, got hurt. That really hurt their season a little bit. Sometimes you make these deals with teams to schedule, like Arkansas.
Yeah.
Nobody saw them being like that this year. So that's one of the things is you have the flexibility with your scheduling, but you're not always guaranteed to have a good
Yeah.
schedule. As far as good as in you're playing quality opponents, and also good as in you're going to win your games.
Yeah.
Um, as a traditionalist and a Notre Dame fan, I would love to see Notre Dame stay independent just as much as I'd love to bring back the old ACC where you have the Maryland, Duke, North Carolina battles. I'd
Yeah.
rather see that than the Big Ten, and let the Big Ten, I want conferences to go back to
Yeah.
what they used to be, regional, but money
Yeah.
talks.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And the NBC deal has a lot to do with that, I believe.
It does. It's a blessing and a curse for Notre Dame fans
Yeah.
now. Do I think we'll ever join a conference? To get back to your question, yeah, I do think that at some point,
It's gonna be required, I believe, or
I
they'll get
think
left out
it's
every year.
yeah, and I think what's going to happen is that all the media conglomerates are just going to get together. They're going to split up the deals,
Yeah.
or not the deals, but the games, and everything's going to go back to regional conferences.
And
And
that's gonna happen as soon as 2030, I believe, is when the Big Ten's deal is up with
it's,
Fox.
it's
I
2030 or 2031, one of those two. But yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be a lot of changes in the coming years with college football, whether they move from 12 to 16, and the Big Ten wants 24, so I think that's too much myself. I'd be fine with 16, even better with 12. I'd probably be more happy with 8 because I think to win a championship in college football, you need you need to be almost perfect. You need to not drop those games, to not for Alabama to get beat, what, 35-3 and still get in the playoff. I don't I don't think that should happen, and I think that'll put more emphasis on the conference championships as well.
yeah, I think I'm with you. Like 16 is the max. If
Yeah,
you would go to 24, then now you're going to say that
4 loss team will be in.
a 6-6,
Yeah,
SEC team gets in because they get this many automatic qualifiers.
yeah.
You
It's
know
it's
it, and then you're gonna have to figure out a a way or a metric, a measuring system. It has to go back to a computer based. Not just because Notre Dame didn't make the playoffs, but the
yeah.
last couple of years, there's always some controversy. If you run it through a program or something, you can kind of take out the biasy in it.
In a way, yes, but a computer doesn't have eyes either.
This is true.
So, in my opinion, was the SEC as strong as the Big Ten this year? Maybe in the middle of the conference. At the top, obviously the top teams were from the Big Ten are better. So the computers will always have that kind of inherent biases. I'm sure they weight teams in a certain way to make it seem
Right.
like an SEC opponent, which don't get me wrong, the SEC is a grind and it's going to become more of a grind next year because they're switching to a 9 game conference schedule. That is going to make things very interesting. And if anyone comes out of there with none or one loss, it's going to be a monster. So it's interesting to see. I know we're not going back in down in playoff numbers. The only way is up. I just hope it stops at 16 myself.
I think it has to just for a timeline. Like
Yeah,
you can't play 2 football games in a week.
yeah,
You can play, that's why the NCAA tournament is so great because you can play 2 in a week.
yeah.
There's times that in a regular season they play 3 times in a week.
Mhm.
But football is not a sport that you can play twice a week.
Yeah,
So you would, if you got 24, like you said, the conference championships are pointless.
yeah,
At that point, would you rather? I'd rather not make the conference championship game and
yeah,
get an extra week's rest.
yeah.
You know, that
Uh,
doesn't always play out well, but at least limits the risk of your injuries. And
I mean, it's kind of proven with the top 4 seeds over the
yeah,
past 2 years of playoffs being 1 and 7,
with
and
Indiana being the only team that won.
they could be argued as one of the best teams ever at this point. They're up there with LSU for me.
I think there's the some of the Miami teams.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, that's
Ohio
it.
State's had some just dreams, but uh, Indiana was
Yeah, I
what
mean,
they did this year was, well, the past 2 years.
yeah,
What Signetti has done is kind of it's video game numbers on the
and
coaching aspect. Like when you're playing NCAA football,
yeah,
and you take over this young team, and in 2 years you're winning the national title. You know because you know how to do it.
mhm,
On the game, you're good at the game, you're good at the recruiting, but to see it done in real life is, as frustrating as it was as a Notre Dame fan, it was still as a college football fan,
yeah.
really, really cool and neat to see.
For many years, Notre Dame was considered the only team in Indiana. Really, how does it feel to be the second best team in Indiana?
Well, we didn't play them this year, and we gave them their last loss. So technically, head to head, if we're going to talk head to head stuff, uh, we're still better.
Yeah,
So
I
how does it
mean,
feel? I don't know to answer the second best question, but how does it feel to be the best team in Indiana? Um, it is nice. Um,
I think it's
Coach
nice to
Freeman,
s I think it's nice to see some differences, to not have the same teams every year.
yeah,
It's and the NIL has changed that. I know more it might not get to 25 or 30 teams that can win a national title every year, but the number has increased from 5 to maybe 10, maybe 15 on a given year that could win a national title now.
yeah. The NIL has really, really changed the game,
Yeah.
the entire game. Um, you know,
It's
I
a and
I like it
it's
and I love it,
crazy.
but I hate it at the same time. Uh,
It's I really don't like what Miami did the other night.
I don't either. I see.
Uh,
I think there should be something about that. I don't think you should be able to tamper.
yeah,
And I'm saying that every team does it. I had a buddy of mine used to be an assistant coach at Vanderbilt for men's basketball, and one of the reasons he got out was the NIL and the transfer portal. But he said like one of their players dropped 20 against Alabama. And going through the handshake line, the assistant coach pulled him aside at the end and was already talking to him, offering him money.
yeah, yeah.
Something needs done on that end. It does. Listen, college players have been getting paid forever,
Yeah,
and anybody tells you not blind or doesn't want to tell you the truth.
and that was kinda proven with, Coach O's interview on Bussin' with the Boys.
Yeah. Um,
So,
man,
and,
I like Coach O.
we're already talking about the future. What does success look like for the future of Notre Dame? Is it having to make the playoffs every year? I know there's a stipulation this year where if they're in the top 12, they automatically get in. Uh, is that going to be a constant as a requirement for you to see it as a success?
Um, Short answer is yes. We should be in the playoffs or in playoff contention every year.
Yeah,
Um, you know, the beauty of being an independent, in one aspect, um, but also, that's what success is to me.
yeah,
Um, The long version is number one, may just make it so I can relax most Saturdays. I'm not
Yeah.
pacing the house. I'm not,
Well,
telling everybody to be quiet.
USC is not on the schedule anymore, so that takes one Saturday off.
Yeah.
I know I think that should be a staple every year. I know it didn't work out. I don't know the details of it, but I feel like that's one game that should be played every year no matter what.
USC started scared. They didn't want to play us anymore because they claimed the travel was too much.
Yeah. They do
So
have a
then
point. I mean,
they offered us week 0 game,
yeah.
which doesn't benefit anybody.
Mhm.
And that we said no because we had said any we'll play you anytime, any place. So they kind of caught our bluff and like, fine, week 0. And we were like, that doesn't work for us,
Yeah.
especially this year playing at Lambeau. And they walked away from it. I think it's one of those people in charge, like college football needs a commissioner,
Yes.
Nick Saban for commissioner. And, he needs to call them like, into the principal's office. You come and sit in the commissioner's office and look, you're Notre Dame, you're USC. This has been going on for this long.
Yeah.
You're not leaving this room until deals worked out.
Yeah. I I do agree that the figureheads in charge, they only care about one thing. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the players. They
No.
only care about the dollar signs. And until something is reined in there and tradition is brought back, it's going to continue to get worse. Uh, what's one thing you'd hope never changes about Notre Dame?
Um, oh, he's probably gonna make me sound like a jerk, but just the fact that we're Notre Dame and you're not.
Yeah,
Um, we're different than everywhere else. It's a special place. I wish I was smart enough to get into Notre Dame,
yeah,
but I wasn't, and I knew that, so I didn't get my hopes up and send any letters. Um, but just you know, keeping it fun and exciting, keeping the traditions alive,
yeah,
and growing with the game, which I think now every program has to grow with the game. Just
yeah,
I mean, Indiana grew with the game, and look what it did in 2 years.
yeah. Having the right coaching staff and making the right moves can change everything in a quick hurry anymore. It's what they did this year. I know we're recording a week after the national championship, so we had time to let it settle and think about it. And we're gonna look back on this and be like, Indiana really won the national title, but they could become a national powerhouse now. I mean,
I think
they
that's
could,
one of the good things that NIL has done. Like
yeah,
it's allowed the Indianas who 5 years ago you were like, oh hey, Indiana made a bowl game. Cool. I'll watch the, Antarctica, visit Antarctica.com bowl or whatever it is.
yeah,
And now it's like, oh man, Indiana's for real.
yeah,
Texas Tech is the same way. They've always been a decent program, a good program, but they weren't,
yeah,
one of the perennial powerhouses year in, year out. They'd be one of those schools that had their year every, 5, 6 years.
yeah,
And then another time you're like, I'm not super worried about it if we're playing them. But now it's like, oh, okay.
yeah,
So I think it's gonna allow some of those schools that haven't been consistently at the top
hmm,
to rise up there.
yeah,
Um, but also it's gonna take out, as we talked about before, like the tradition. It's gonna take out some traditions and it's gonna have schools um, you know, have to decide if they want to bend on their academic integrity
hmm,
and pay all these players to come in.
yeah,
I think that part of it needs reined in, to make it, if I hit $1 billion lottery tomorrow and
yeah,
I'll take my private helicopter to South Bend and land and be like, here's 40 million for the roster. Let's win a
yeah.
title.
That's what
Anybody
Texas
can do
Tech
that
is
now.
kind of doing right now.
Right. And there's a great joke on Twitter about Fernando Mendoza, and it said that Mark Cuban offered to pay Mendoza what he would have made
Hmm.
his rookie year to stay.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, parody accounts, and everybody was commenting, going nuts, and the original poster was like, "Guys, this was a joke. I didn't expect it to go viral." I wish I could remember who had it out there, but it was one of those things I read, and I knew it was a parody account. I just started laughing, and it's one of those, like, it's only funny because it's true.
Yeah, and I do believe eventually something like that will happen.
Yeah, I mean,
It's it's only
if
a
I
matter of time until someone, for instance, the Ty Simpson situation. He declared for the NFL draft. I believe he's still going to the NFL draft, but there was talk of him going to Miami. And someone will end up paying 10, 15, $20 million for a player to stay on campus for an extra year.
yeah, and I mean, Miami just went out and, what is it, Mensa, the quarterback for Duke.
Yeah.
They pretty much bought him out of his NIL deal. So that's gonna be an interesting
We'll
thing
see
for
what happens
college
when the
football.
lawyers gotten involved, so we'll see what happens with that. So,
I thought I read something today that said that they couldn't block him from leaving,
okay.
but then they were still looking at the NIL contract.
Yeah.
Um, and I almost think you need to have a window where players can go and sign, and then you have a window where coaches can go and sign.
Yeah.
We can't. It's hard to restrict movement of players when you don't restrict the movement of coaches.
Yeah.
However, you know what's going to stop Miami. Say Carson Beck's a sophomore, but he ruptures his Achilles in the national championship game,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden, like, we weren't going to get a quarterback, but we need one and need one now.
And it will continue to happen until it gets reined in.
And I just
It's
don't know when it's going to have to get reined in, or
yeah.
it's just going to be, you know, then you might as well just
Wild
not.
West.
You're going to lose college football,
Yeah.
and then you're basically going to have a minor league football system.
Correct.
And while that may sound cool, the traditional college football fan, I'm sure, agrees with me when I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't want to watch Notre
I wanna
Dame play
see
when they don't represent the university. They're just a team. So, you know,
I agree. The players are special because they take in the pride and take in the tradition of their teams, and whenever it's just free agency and moving around from team to team, it kinda loses that meaning. So, I completely agree with you there.
you don't get you don't get the true feeling of it for being there, 6 months or a year,
Yeah.
whereas you do, like, being fully in that environment, immersed in the culture for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. It's totally different than it used to be. Those players used to be there and not be able to start till they were seniors, and getting on the field meant everything to them. And now it's if I'm not getting playing time, I'm headed somewhere else. There was so many players in transfer portal, and some of them jumped in the portal not realizing that their career's over. They don't have another place to go. They can't go back to the school because the school's not going to take them back. They already filled their spot. It's it's sad. I don't want to be like I told you so, but it's really sad to see these players that may have not realized that they just played their last down of football by jumping in the portal.
Yeah, now, your passion, your love for the school is one thing, but money
Yeah,
talks.
yeah,
I've heard of a lot of freshmen that got paid a certain amount to come in to a
yeah,
school, whether it be Notre Dame or, you know, Maryland, Penn State, West Virginia, wherever. Um, but they get paid a certain amount, and then when they had their end of season meetings, they want them to take a pay cut.
yeah,
Well, hey, we redshirted you just like we talked about, but we only have this much money for you this year. And now you're jumping in the portal because, a guy that's a year older than you that didn't jump into portal last year and worked for a year
mhm,
improved so much that he took some of your money.
yeah, yeah, it's, uh
And I wonder when it's going to happen the first time one of the superstar quarterbacks that's getting $4 or $5 million throws 4 interceptions in a
right,
game,
yeah,
and then makes a comment after the game, and now everybody's going to be in everybody's face. Like, at what point does the love of your team do one
Yeah,
thing, but then realizing that, hey, this guy's getting paid more than me, and you can't even do this.
yeah.
So I wonder, if that's happening. I haven't heard about it on any team. Never read about it. You know,
I haven't heard anything yet. The closest thing I have heard was in college wrestling. The number 4 ranked guy at 197 pounds for Iowa was injured. I'm not gonna dive into details because I don't know anything. I know he had a baby and he got cut from the team and his NIL was pulled. It's something that's gonna happen continuously if coaches aren't getting production out of you.
yeah. I mean,
And
it used to be that at the end of the season you always have player meetings, and I
yeah,
say this as a former women's basketball coach, at the Division III level. You have your player meetings. You talk, and then the tell the player your path for them and where you see them going and what you want for them.
yeah,
How you see their future going if they do X, Y, and Z. And I just think that some people aren't ready for those conversations.
yeah. It's
And before it was like, hey, we don't have playing time for you right now. If you want to, if you can wait it out another year or two, we'll have a ton of minutes for you. Right now, we don't. You
mhm,
know, we'd love for you to stick it out, but we also understand if you want to pursue a transfer.
yeah,
Now they're just straight telling you, hey, we don't have snaps for you. We're gonna enter you into the portal.
yeah,
If you
and,
want to stay, okay, but we don't have a path for you right now because of this, this, and this.
yeah,
You're essentially
it's
before you were kind of you know, asked to transfer or whatever, and now you're just straight up getting cut, you know.
yeah,
And like
yep,
you said, there's some 18, 19, 20-year-old kid out there who has played his last snap of football because he entered the portal and he doesn't know it yet.
yeah. It's it's sad where we're at in college football right now, but that the crazy thing is we still love the game and we still love the sport. I will
I'm still tuning
die
into the first, Maction
every
game on
fall.
Tuesday night that comes
Yeah.
on. I'm gonna be
I will stand on the hill that the college, the tradition always will mean more than the NFL to me.
see
And
here's what's cool about college though. You know, every college has their own tradition.
that
So
is
they
my
could
goal with this show. That is my goal with this show to learn what the traditions are, what makes a person a fan. And if you're listening to this and you have a story, I want to invite you. Send me a DM. Let me know. You can come on and tell your story.
it is cool. Like I watched Notre Dame Navy in Ireland,
Hmm.
which was a cool experience in and of itself. But it was treated as a Navy home game.
Yeah.
So they had the fighter jets on the screen, highway to the danger zone playing as Navy's taking the field. A full Navy band was there. So that was cool to see. The plebes in the stands,
Yeah.
cheering them on. After that game, that's probably another cool Notre Dame moment is Notre Dame and Navy doing the alma maters after the game with each other, no matter what the score is, or
Yeah.
how the game played out. Seeing stuff like that, I saw in Notre Dame Navy in Baltimore at Ravens Stadium, M&T Bank, and
Yeah.
it was treated as a Notre Dame home game. So they did, as much of the Notre Dame stuff as you can bring, and then having a video board made it a lot easier.
Hmm.
So the fact that everybody has their own tradition,
Yeah.
um, watching WVU, stand on the field and sing "Country Roads," with 60,000 people singing every word.
Yeah.
Um, I want to go. Notre Dame plays Alabama in like 2 or 3 years in Tuscaloosa. I
Yeah.
want to hear Dixieland Delight.
Yeah.
I want to hear Colin Baton Rouge in Tiger Stadium at night.
Let's move on. I have a finale. I have some rapid fire questions just to kind of round off the episode. And we already talked about a few, so I'll skip over them. Best place on campus on game day.
Ooh, man, that's tough. Um, Got to be the grotto.
Okay.
Seeing everybody lighting the candles, especially if it's a night game and
Yeah.
it lit up at night, it's a beautiful sight.
One word to describe Notre Dame football.
Magic. There's magic in the sound of their name.
Favorite uniform combo.
Ooh,
Don't say the all green.
no, the all green was terrible.
Yeah.
Um, oh man. Um, and definitely not the uniforms we wore for the pinstripe. That was terrible. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just don't even worry about googling it. We had
Yeah.
pinstripes for the Yankee stadiums.
I
Awful.
remember.
Um,
You're a traditionalist. You like the blue and the gold, right?
I like the blue and the gold, but every once in a while, if we just, I'm a sucker for the green jerseys and the gold pants. But the blue and the gold is the combo to go with.
Yeah.
The Shamrock Series uniforms have been cool, but I
Yeah.
I give me it's got to be got to be the gold helmet, got to be the blue pants and the the
We
gold
touched
pants.
we touched on this. I don't know if your answer will be the same. Best song the band plays.
1812 overture.
Okay. Interesting. Home
They
game or
play it. They play it at the end of the third quarter
yeah.
every game. And so when Lou Holtz was coaching, they held up L's.
Mm-hmm.
When Kelly was coaching, they held up a K. And so now they hold up the W for the wins.
They don't hold up an F.
Nah, kind of
Yeah.
hard to make.
Yeah. That's true. Uh, Home game or road game.
Depends on where. Usually a
Yeah.
home game though.
Yeah.
If it's for my team, home game.
Yeah. Biggest rival in your mind.
USC.
Yeah.
Hey, Michigan's 1B, but USC is number one. Always will be.
One thing Notre Dame does better than anyone else.
As a fan, I'm going to say football product, but as an un fan, I'm going to say um, how they brand and market their university,
Yeah.
how they always find ways to make Notre Dame notable on a national level. Um, I think that's just one thing that they do good, and some other schools do it good too. But Notre Dame's been doing it for so long of just being a national brand and just keeping the spotlight on them, even
Yeah.
in the bad years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're always on every Saturday. That's all I got for you. I appreciate you spending some time with me.
Yeah,
So
well, that's good. And I mean, let me know. I'll come on and do this anytime you want.
yeah. And college football changes every year. The coaches, the conferences, the playoffs. But what never changes are the people who love these teams and the places that make them feel like home and the moments that make it matter. For Rick and Notre Dame, that story lives in moments like the ones you shared today. And if you have a story like this, the moment a team became yours or a place that made it real, I'd love to hear it. Thank you, Rick, for your time
Thank you,
tonight.
Sean.
I appreciate the conversation. I learned a little bit tonight about Notre Dame, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you,
Next
everyone.
up, next up is bringing you to South Bend,
Yeah, yeah.
and we'll fully convert your fandom.
I don't know about that. I'm unbiased. So, thank you, everyone, for listening to Saturdays and Stories. We'll see you next Saturday.